Hey everyone, this is Rico Figliolini at Peachtree Corners Life and Peachtree Corners Magazine. I have a really great guest. We're going to get into a conversation today with Cliff Bramble from Noblefin.
Hi, everybody.
So,
Thanks for having me.
yes, this is going to be fantastic. He's been to a place I've been to, but the continent anyway, and part of the country, but not in the same way that Cliff has done it. So we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But ahead of that, I want to just thank a few people, a few sponsors that we have. So Atlanta Tech Park first, because Atlanta Tech Park here in Peachtree Corners is our sponsor with this podcast room where we're doing this out of. It's an accelerator. One of our other sponsors, Prototype Prime, is a incubator. So when you get to that startup space and you're a startup and then you get growing a little bit more, you come to a place like this. Lots of workshops here driven by a lot of talented people, a lot of office space, event space as well. Right down the block is Annerby Brewery, I think it's called. And there's a bunch of places. So, and this road that we're on actually is the autonomous track that's going to be featured at the Smart City Expo, who, by the way, we are a media sponsor for, and that's happening in September 11th, 12th, and 13th. Smart City Expo, that's actually based out of Barcelona. It's the World Expo. This is the first North American expo that's happening. We're a media sponsor for them. And the city here will have the first and probably only off-site demo from that expo, showing people this track, the abilities of what to use here, how this track in autonomous fashion and smart technology can be a great use for a lot of different companies. So that's that. And one last mention is Gwinnett Medical Center. I got to say, they are a new sponsor. They're entering Peachtree Corners now. In fact, today, when we're taping this, is their grand opening day. And if you want to learn more about their services offered at GMC Primary Care and Specialty Center at Peachtree Corners, you need to visit gwinnettmedicalcenter.org/PTC. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, a mouthful. Yeah, let's get into the sort of the meat of it, the meat of potatoes, but not potatoes, right?
Lots of meat.
So this is a culinary adventure. Cliff owns Noblefin Restaurant.
Yes.
And he owns a company called
Hungry Hospitality,
which is a consulting firm, right?
Yes, restaurant and hotel consulting firm, yes.
Excellent. So you help other businesses. I mean, you have a successful restaurant here in Peachtree Corners, and you help other businesses?
Well, yeah, help other businesses do a lot of different things, from human resources to financials. There's a lot of avenues in a restaurant that people need help or guidance with.
Right.
And so I try to help them out using my 40 years of experience. So hopefully I can help somebody.
Excellent. But the topic today, of course, is close and dear to my heart because I love food. My doctor tells me I need to stop eating so much pasta, but you've been to Italy lately.
I have, and I will tell you, we had the fortunate experience of being able to eat at a lot of different areas throughout Rome and Florence and CinqueTerre. We went all the way down to Amalfi and Positano and Praiano. So we were very fortunate to eat a lot of different areas, in a lot of different areas, and experience a lot of the different culinary delights throughout Italy.
That is cool. That is a place I would love to go. The Amalfi Coast is supposed to be beautiful.
The Amalfi Coast is fantastic, but when you go there, you better wear sneakers. There's a lot of stairs. If they tell you there's 20 stairs, there's 200.
Really? Wow.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stairs, and they've been there probably 200 years.
Yeah. And I saw one of the videos you posted to Instagram, and you said be careful, and I saw this car whizzing by.
Oh yeah. So in Amalfi and Positano and Praiano, there's really a 2-lane street, and on that 2-lane street, there's a little 6-inch white stripe on the left hand or right hand side of the street. So you have 6 inches to really stay on the left or right hand side before those cars whiz by.
Wow.
And you could be in a little tiny car coming by, or a little moped or Vespa coming by, or you could have a big SITA bus. It's SITA bus. It's a local bus, and they whiz by pretty quickly, so you have to pay attention.
Yeah. Now you've so where was the first actually the first picture that we have? I got to show this. Let's show that first picture. This was the bistecca.
Oh, the bistecca Florentina, yes. So in Florence, everybody is, a lot of people are aware of, in Florence, you're going to have a bistecca Florentina. And interestingly enough, they have them cooking from gas, coal, and also wood in different areas over there. And this one restaurant that I went into, I think you probably see the pictures up there now.
Yeah. This is a little late to see on this.
Yeah, so the picture will be coming up. But interestingly enough, is the cool part is that they will slice the steak for you, whatever one that you want, and they're going to cook it right over there.
Really?
And we went and we said, hey, as a family, we have to go and at least try one of these. And I will tell you, it was a great experience. Very succulent, very moist, nice and salty. It was a great adventure.
So you just picked out which one you want in that picture?
Ours was a big old ribeye, and so, and as much as there's a lot of flavor in it, some people say, hey, I'm a filet person, but the ribeye that we had there, it was awesome. And the way they cook it, it's Florence is known for the bistecca Florentina.
And how do you find Italian restaurants? I mean, restaurants outside the U.S. anyway. How do you find?
It's tough because there's so many of them. But there's a lot of asking people, a lot of asking the locals. And if you're going to Florence or even Rome and you see people with their menus in their hand and they're trying to flag you in, that's probably not the one to go to. You want to ask a local, hey, where do the locals hang out? Right. And I did find one place in Florence beside the bistecca or the steak one was a little tiny place that seated about 15 people. And man, I had the best lasagna I've ever had. For €6, it was the best lasagna. And we tried to go back there at nighttime, but we could not find the place because it was in a little alley and nobody was around.
Oh, that's funny. It's like these moving places. Must be like Harry Potter. The walls closed up.
Yeah. Well, it was so hot there. We just wanted to be somewhere in between walls so the sun wasn't going on us. But you ask a lot of local people and just and cross your fingers that they know.
That's cool. And they're small places, obviously. 15-seat place, you wonder how they make any money.
I was wondering that myself. And, there's a lot of places throughout all of Italy, and they're only, under 50 seats. So in America, we have these large restaurants that have 150 seats. And over there, there's no question. I thought the same thing. I'm like, wow, they have to serve a lot of people here. Yeah. Either that or they're not paying much rent.
Yeah, well, I know in Sicily, where my wife comes from, that some of the places we went to, they own the building. Yes. They live upstairs, maybe, and they just opened it. It's been in their family for 100 years, maybe.
Absolutely, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
and I met actually somebody who exactly what you're saying, and she was in Manarola. And I went to her place probably 3 or 4 times in the morning, and then she had this Mac Daddy espresso machine. It was like, and I said, man, that machine has got to go for $15,000-$20,000. She goes, 18,000 euros.
Really?
And so I spoke with her, and she said, hey, this is my family's house, and we've had this for 50 years. And the same thing, exactly what you're saying. So it was cool. She was a very nice person.
The next one that we have is the panini photo. Tell us a little, because everyone knows paninis here. I think if you go out a lot, you might get a panini at a, I don't know, Atlanta Bread Company. Let's say.
Oh yeah.
But is that a panini?
Well, you know what? It's different. You know how they always say it tastes different in Italy. And the paninis there's a lot of them that are counter. So you walk up to the counter and the paninis are there. Right. And basically the nice part is they're with fresh bread that is just coming out of that little oven because the ovens are behind them. And they have slices of prosciutto cotto, or they also have, one of my best paninis that I had over there was prosciutto and brie. So it was a prosciutto on a nice focaccia, and then they took a nice sliced piece of brie about 5 inches long, and they put it on there, but then they toasted it on the panini press.
Really?
So I will tell you what, that was like €4. The best deal that you can get.
What's the conversion right now?
It's 20 cents less, so it was about $4.60.
That's cheap.
It was inexpensive, and you get a great sandwich. So the paninis, a lot of people will go to Italy and say, hey, I don't know where I'm going to go, what am I going to eat? But if you're going through the train stations or the bus stations, or even some of the food halls, you're going to see that there's all types of places that you can just walk up to and say, I'll take the buffalo mozzarella and the tomato.
Right. It's nothing like, if you went to New York, I mean, you got the hot dog stand on the corner, so you don't find them.
You won't find you probably find the paninis, but they're going to charge you $15 for them.
That too. Yes.
So in Italy, I will tell you, you can eat pretty inexpensively at these places and have some pretty good food.
healthy food too. I mean, compared to what you see on the street food here sometimes.
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's interesting. I don't think we had one fried item over there.
Really?
As I think about it, we had. I mean, granted, we had some pizza. We had to have some pizza.
Yeah.
But you know, in America, there's no question, it's different.
Yeah, it's yeah, and you know, I don't know. Part of I think also the food, and maybe we're getting close to it, is that there's a lot of free range or more like farm to table over there because they're so close in so many places. Right?
Yeah, they're definitely, it's regional. You know, a lot of regional places. So I will tell you, I mean, you know, when you go around different parts of Italy and then you eat at different areas. A lot of the times I said, man, in America we're on the right track because we're doing a lot of the same items. But I will tell you, they taste a little better over there.
Yeah, well, no doubt. I got to believe that just being out there in the air.
Oh yeah.
The wine.
The wine's always good. I mean, the wine, every region has their own wine. If you're in Florence, you know, granted it's in Tuscany, so you have a bunch of different Tuscan wines. However, if you go to a little tiny place in Amalfi, they have their own wines, and it's an Amalfi wine. So everyone, different area, regional, they do have specific wines for the regions.
So that's interesting. Did you ever try rice bowls out there?
The arancini.
Arancini.
Actually, yes, we did have one arancini. It was really good. But I will tell you, the arancini that we get here in America are about maybe about 3 inches, 2.5 inches. They were 5 and 6 inches over there. So you could have a meal. If you ordered two arancini, the rice balls, you would have been pretty full.
Yeah, with that. Yeah. I miss those things. So let's see. Going on, we have the Mercato Centrale.
Mercato Centrale was actually in Florence, and you know, interestingly enough, it was really hot there. It was 103 degrees, and we were trying to find somewhere to be inside. So we said, well, we're right down by the Duomo, and so the Mercato Centrale is pretty well known in that area, and it's basically a food hall, you know, American style food hall, like Faneuil Hall. But this place here had everything under the sun. From you could get chicken, you could get biscotti, you could get you know, any type of gelato, coffee, pizzas all over the place. Truffles, they had black truffles over there,
Nice.
and on one of the pizzas they were shaved on one of the pizzas. But the image that you'll see, I will tell you, this place was really big and it was jam packed with people. And it was a cool place. You could get it. You could go from stall to stall to stall, and it was a lot of fun in there.
Is there any place here in the States that comes close to that experience?
Well, you know what? With all the food halls going up, you look at Krog Street Market. And Krog Street Market, they've done a great job with them. David did a really nice job with that place over there. And you know, are they modeled after some of these places in Europe? They could be because. They really could be, but at the same, I think they started earlier than we did in America.
Yeah, sure.
But there's, you know, you go to Faneuil Hall, same exact thing, and even in Chicago, they just opened up a really big food hall. But there's 2 or 3 under works here, and there's a new one that's going to be going up in Athens in the next year, which is going to take up an old building over there. So it'll be interesting.
We need one of them out here. I think outside the perimeter up here would be nice. Huh?
Yeah.
Not enough people, maybe. Though.
Yeah, we need a few more people.
Yeah. Just
in a bike line, you know, a line with 10,000 people on it every day, like the Bell Line.
Yes. Actually, I was saying when I went to Pond City Market, I thought that was close to some degree.
Absolutely.
You know, right?
Absolutely, because Pond City Market, there's so much going on down there, and they have two floors of all food, and now on top of them, they've got all the big tech companies going on, and that new Kroger that just is opening up with a big building that's going right next to it, and all the tech companies that are moving over there. So Pond City Market is definitely a great little spot.
I think once they do the apartment complex up in town center, maybe there might be maybe 300 people there.
Yeah, maybe.
If that ever goes. It's tough out there. But so Italy, and you've been Florence, you've been Amalfi. What's the pizza margarita?
Pizza margarita. So we ended up in Naples. Naples was really a cool area.
Naples?
You know, Naples was really nice. I have to tell you, we stayed on in this place called Hotel Bellini, which was, when I made the reservation, they had warned us, hey, this is a sketchy area. Don't be afraid if you see graffiti. And I'm like, I'm used to that, you know. And so we ended up staying at this one place, and it was really in the middle of all the different shopping areas around there. And so we went to this place called Sorbello. There was two really great places for pizza. There's a lot of places.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But there's number one and number two. We ended up going to this place, I believe it was called Sorbello Pizza. But the cool part is that you're walking down the road and there's restaurant after restaurant going everywhere, and you know, you've got the Italian horns that are actually, it looks like a little red chili, that in Naples, that's where it really came from. But so we went to the Sorbello Pizza, but you go and put your name in and to the guy who's standing outside across the street, and he'll tell you across the street, because there's 50 people in front of you or behind you. And it's like a little machine. So basically, he'll tell you, hey, I'm going to call your name and number in Italian, so you have to pay attention. So and also you have to understand exactly a little what he's saying. So he called our number, and we went into the Sorbello Pizza. And the cool part is they have these two big ovens they use a combination of gas and also wood. But when you order that pizza, it's to your table in 4 or 5 minutes. And this place had a dumbwaiter that actually, the pizza was made down below. They put it in the dumbwaiter, it came up top, and they delivered it right to your table. And they have actually another one in New York City. But the pizza there, Naples is known for the pizza margherita. And I will tell you, the pizza there was really good. And it's pretty big. The difference is it's only 5 or 6 euros compared to in America, where the same pizza would be $26 or $27. So a little different, but the pizza was awesome.
You know what? People always wonder about that. I mean, even I think about that. You know, you talk about Europe, and you talk about how expensive it is to live there because gas is expensive.
Oh yeah, gas was nice. They sell about a liter, $2 a liter.
Yeah. So I mean, over here that'd be equivalent of $8 or something.
Yeah.
So, but food's cheap.
The food, I will tell you, I personally found, being in the restaurant business, I found that the food was very inexpensive. When you go out for lunch and for 4 people and you spend 40 euros, which is like, say, $50, and you have a pretty good meal.
For 4 people?
For 4 people.
Right.
So, and even if you went there tomorrow, I would say, hey, Rico, you can go get a panini with prosciutto in it and brie for lunch, and maybe get a pizza for dinner, and you're going to spend 12 euros.
Yeah.
And if you want bottled water, most of the bottled waters is €2, maybe €3 at the most.
Really? Over here you have to pay way more than that to get that. And those are big bottles. They're not the little ones.
Yeah. Everybody in Italy, no matter where you go, you're going to be ordering bottled water.
Yeah. Did you find that when you stayed? So did you book like Airbnb or anything like that?
2 of them were I think one of them was an Airbnb in CinqueTerre, and that was awesome. The guy was really cool. His name was Paolo. Imagine that. And he was really cool. He met us at the bottom of the stairs, and I knew afterward why he met us at the bottom, because there was like 450 stairs to his house.
You had to carry all your bags up that way.
Yeah, he helped us, and he said, "Man, these are heavy."
Well, you're out there for 14 days, right?
Yeah.
The kids didn't bring 5 pairs of shoes, I hope.
No, but that Airbnb was it was a nice place, and the air conditioning worked. You know, in America, we have air conditioning. In Italy, they have air conditioning, but it's their style of air conditioning.
It doesn't work.
And at the Airbnb that we stayed, it was really nice. It was a nice place, and he was a really nice guy.
How long did you stay there, actually?
It was 2 nights.
2 nights. That's not so bad for that flight of stairs.
It wasn't that bad, because we overlooked I think it's the Tyrrhenian Sea.
Oh, man.
And, we got to eat all what we needed to eat over there, with a lot of different espresso. That we had espressos, and we had more espressos and cappuccinos than we wanted to. But it was fun, We ate a lot of different food.
There's no point in sleeping when you're in Italy.
No, we got up early.
No, you didn't do bus tours either. This is like, you just did your own thing, right?
Yeah, we did our own thing. We set it up, and I bet you we did 20, 25 hours of setting it up. So we would land in one area, and we would take the I think it's called the Fresco Rosso train, the red train, and we would take that to wherever we needed to go. And one part we did land in Salerno, and we had to take the boat over to Positano.
Yes.
Which was really cool, because you get to see all of the coast, all the way up, 15, 20-minute ride. And we were supposed to we had a taxi cab waiting for us with our name on it, Bramble family. And we missed that one. We missed that one by an hour, because we went up 800 stairs instead of going up the 70 stair level.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a challenge, but we figured, but we set it all up, and we spent 20-25 hours getting it together, and it worked out really well.
And no travel agent, you just did your own bookings and everything.
We booked all of our own stuff, and a few people have asked me, hey, how come you didn't use a travel agency? And we've been there a couple times, but we really knew where we wanted to go. And the difference, I think, what we did compared to some of our friends who went there with travel agencies and with tours, the tour guide will take you to Florence, and you're there for 2 hours. Okay, now it's time to go to the next one. So we stayed, and we kind of felt like we were living in there and living like the locals.
Yeah, and that's better, I think.
It was fun. I will tell you, I would do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd do it tomorrow too if I could.
Yeah, we'll pick you up.
I need your itinerary.
I'll give it to you. It's a long one.
I'll duplicate that one. Figs. Now, I have a beautiful fig tree in the back, but these figs from Italy, these figs are beautiful.
So the figs in Italy, the figs in Italy, the trees are 10, 12 feet. And without a question. And the leaves, when I was walking up in one area, it was in CinqueTerre, where we were walking up this big alley going up to the B&B, and I'm looking and I can see these giant lemons that are on the trees. And then right next to it, they have the fig trees. And these figs, they're probably 3-4 inches wide, and they're all green. Yeah. And I will tell you what, we had a couple of them. They were awesome. Sweet, tasty. I mean, and you can just pick them right off the tree, just like anywhere else. But it's an Italian fig, and it's almost like a small baseball. So I have some in my backyard, but they're only the size of a quarter. And,
oh wow, that is small. Ours are a little bigger than that. Yeah, ours are probably a good 2 inches, 1.5 inches to 2 inches wide, actually.
Yeah.
But that was, like I mentioned before we started doing this, there was a clipping from an Italian fig tree.
Awesome.
So that was why. But with I don't know, American soil, American air, maybe something's different.
Well, I don't know, but I will tell you, I know a lot of my relatives many years ago when I was growing up, they would go to Italy and they'd come back with a little piece of a tree. And they knew how to take that tree, put it in water and let it grow a little bit, and then they plant it, and next thing you know, it was growing in the backyard.
My father-in-law was the one with the green thumb.
The green thumb, yeah.
Because this thing traveled from Italy to California and to us eventually by a few years, but now it's been there 20 years. So
that's awesome. Italian fig tree.
Yeah, love it. Sweet stuff. And I don't know what people can you cook with figs? I don't even know. Or is it just
you can cook with figs, yeah. I mean, you can. I mean, but there's a lot of people, a lot of chefs definitely take them, they slice them in half. They'll put a little goat cheese on them, or they'll put a little honey on it as well.
Yeah, honey.
And just eat them the way they are. Yeah.
I haven't done the goat cheese. Yeah. Prosciutto is a nice salty meat.
Prosciutto, I'll tell you what, the prosciutto, we were fortunate. We went to Parma, and Parma is if you don't are not familiar with Parma, Parma is in the middle of the country of Italy, and we were coming from the coast, northern coast, so we rented a car, and that was the only car that we rented for almost a day, and when you're driving through the hills of Italy, you're going, they're not hills, they're mountains. Yeah. So that particular day was 105 degrees, and we were dying to get to where we were going in the middle of Parma. We really didn't know where we were going, but we finally got to this prosciutto ham factory. And the really nice part was the people were really nice. They waited for us. Instead of getting there at 12, we got there at 1, and she still was nice enough to take us through this ham factory. And the ham factory, it's called Rosa D'Angelo, and basically they have hogs that live in the wild. And so they're black hogs, which in America you don't see a lot of them being imported, especially for the prosciutto. They are from Spain, but they have the white hogs and the black hogs, and the black hoofs, white hoofs. But she took us to where they, in their facility, where they brined everything, and they took the pepper and they put it all over it. And at one point we were standing up looking at, she said, $2 million worth of prosciutto above our heads. And it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so we went in there. We were fortunate. We tried the black hoof prosciutto, which they slice like more on the Spanish style, only about 2 or 3 inches at a time. And then Then we tried the 24 month and 36 month, and I will tell you, they melted in our mouths. It was really good.
I love prosciutto. But, you know, it's funny. Most people just think of prosciutto as those thin slices of meat.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They don't see the whole...
The leg,
which is what was hanging above
yes.
your head.
Oh,
right?
yeah, they were hanging above the head. And they actually sell, this company in themselves, they only sell the legs themselves. They did sell them. They were anywhere from 750 euros to 1,500 euros.
A lot.
And but this company did not or export anything into America. It was interesting. They would sell those to the local people, but in order to, their business is really in slices. So they slice it all, and they put them in these little packages, and they sell them all over Italy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, when you go to Publix and you get the prosciutto, the little slices, you're lucky if you get 8 slices in a little pack for like
and you want it paper
$10
thin, you know. I mean, so there's sometimes when you go to Publix, we always laugh about it, but you know, my family, we've had holiday discussions over a deli in the South compared to going to a deli in the North. And hey, I want my prosciutto really, really thin, and there's a reason for it, you know.
Yeah. That's the texture's the way that it's supposed to be. Right? It's amazing. I don't know about you, well, I'm first generation American, so my parents came from Italy. Right?
Okay.
So in New York, there used to be a place under the New Utrecht Avenue train station.
Okay.
That had live animals. And
Wow.
I'd go with my mom. I was little. I was 10, 12 years old, maybe 10 years old, roughly. Go with my mom. She'd pick out the chickens or the rooster she wanted, whatever it was, the rabbits, when my dad would eat rabbit. And they would take those little beautiful animals that we would say, oh, Mom, look, beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Take them in the back. They would come out all packaged and wrapped up in paper.
That's awesome. That's fresh.
But it was, you know, it's a different... I don't know. It's not like Purdue, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's a different food thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of chicken here in Georgia, but at the same time, you know, there's still places that you can find that I don't think as much in America.
Yeah,
but maybe on Buford Highway, there's maybe you find 1 or 2 places. But at the same time, in Italy, I will tell you, there were 2 or 3 places that you could actually go. One place was in Naples, actually, come to think about it. When you looked at the store, it was all fresh fish. So there was octopus in a little tiny watered bin that had air going into it, and you would order a cone of calamari. So they would take it, as soon as you ordered it, they take it, they chop it right up, they fry it, they stick it in a cone, and then here you go.
From the fresh water?
Right from the water.
Really?
Yes, that was pretty cool.
Did you order that?
My wife did.
Oh, really?
She liked it, but she only ate half of it. I don't know why, but maybe it was a little thick.
Yeah, you like the little ones. The little ones are better, right? A little bit more delicate. Well, you know, it's cool to be able to go to Italy and you know, to other parts outside the U.S. because really food is so much different to me.
It really is. And I will tell you, you know, they always say espresso tastes better in Italy, cappuccino tastes better in Italy. And one thing I found out why the espresso tastes a little better was in America, we have a little packet that's about 2 inches of sugar. And in Italy, I found out that the packets of sugar are about 4 inches, and they're filled with sugar.
Oh, really?
So each one of those sugars that I put into my espresso was really equated to 4 sugars here in America. And no wonder why it was so good.
You can have sugar in real good espresso. You should be drinking them with no sugar.
No, we had a lot of, you know, even my son, he had his first cappuccino in I think it was some place in Florence, and it was funny. I had a good expression on his face of 3 little. He went to taste it, and then the third one was, "This is pretty good."
Yeah. My first son was like that. My in-laws, when they lived with us, they passed away, but they would give him espresso when he was like 6 years old. So
oh, really?
They put the sugar in it, and then they put milk. So he had this much espresso and that much milk in it.
Oh, yeah.
But he grew up with espresso.
They would teach training him.
Yeah, just like they do in Italy. No difference. You know, what was the drinking age in Italy? Wasn't it like
18?
18.
Yeah. So my daughter was very lucky. We were in one place, and she said, "I'm 18, so I get to order wine." And she ordered wine, so she had a good time doing it.
She ordered responsibly.
She did order responsibly, and over there, it's a whole different world. You know, it's a lot of fun. You can drink your way through Italy, you can eat your way through Italy, or you can just travel and have a great time. So,
you were doing a bit of Bourdain out there, I think.
Yeah, he's a little more creative. He was a little more creative eating some of those items. There was I don't know if I would have eaten the grasshoppers. There were two or
Yeah, I
three
don't think
areas
so.
that we went through that we could have gotten food like that.
Really? Now, did you see other? I mean, people don't think of other ethnic neighborhoods or foods in Italy. You think Italian food, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
did you see other types of ethnic foods
You know,
besides McDonald's?
I really didn't. Even in the train stations, it was all a lot of the same items. The like in Florence, for example, at 7 a.m.,
Yeah.
the mozzarella trucks are driving all over the place. They're going from place to place, handing out and delivering the mozzarella. And then they have the pastry trucks, and a
Mhm.
lot of the places that you go to throughout the daytime, they have a lot of the same pastries, and they all come from one or two of the different
Yeah,
companies.
sure. Yeah.
And they're out delivering all the time. But as far as different types of food, I have to tell you, I wasn't looking for
Chinese
it.
food,
I
Indian
wasn't.
food. No.
There was a Chinese restaurant that we went by at one point, and there were a few people in there,
Mhm.
but we weren't looking for that.
No, of course not. But it's interesting to see if other places have that. Cool. So we are. I don't know. We went through. I wish I had more of the pictures actually online that we could show because there was a lot more pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post show notes to this. So when you go to my website, livinginpeachtreecorners.com, you'll see a gallery of some other pictures that Cliff shared with us
Absolutely.
of the prosciuttos. I think we had the prosciuttos hanging.
Yes.
We had
Yes.
that. So we had other pictures as well. So, and I'll share the link to Noble Fin, so this way you can visit. Because
Thank you.
August 5th is Oyster Day.
National Oyster Day is this Monday. But I'm going to tell you, I'll give everybody, just because you're listening to this, if you come in Saturday, we're going to do National Oyster Day on Saturday. Dollar oyster, it's called Rock and Raw, Rockefeller or Raw Oysters, from 4 to 7 at the bar. But last year on National Oyster Day, I think we went through 2,500 oysters in 4 hours.
Really?
So
Last time I had oysters was in Manhattan back, I don't know, 2 decades ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oysters and whiskey. It
Make
was,
sure, hey, every oyster. We had a gentleman who brought his 10-year-old son in a couple weeks ago, and he, interestingly, he said, hey, he eats oysters, and one of the little kid did was smell it first, and then he ate it, which was very, very smart, because some people, if you don't smell it first, everyone we open, we have to smell it. But for this little kid, it was pretty smart that he smelled it first.
That was good.
You want to make sure it's perfect.
I think every little kid wants, they smell out. Does this smell good? Should I eat it?
They'll know if it's not good.
So would there be anything different you'd do that you
For-
didn't if you went back again? Anything different that you'd
Um,
share that you would do
you know
that
what?
you learned along the way?
Sometimes when we went to Rome for a day and a half, and I think that was plenty. Florence was. We always like to stay at Florence a little longer because Florence is so beautiful, and we got to see a lot of different things over there. But we didn't go to Venice this time. We had been there previously. But I mean, more importantly is if you go through little Airbnbs and you find the nice ones, or the small hotels, because the places that we stayed in all had probably under 40 rooms, maybe even under 30. But you get to know a lot of the people. So, I like to say, if we would do anything different, we'd probably stay in Manarola or CinqueTerre, one region, more days. Amalfi, we were there for 4 nights, I think
That's good.
5.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I mean, that's a beautiful area. So if you don't want a touristy trap place where you're going from place to place every single night, you know what, stay in some places in areas 2 or 3 nights instead of 1, or maybe 4 nights, and take day trips to the different areas.
How'd you do the day trips? Was that did they have Ubers type of
They
rides?
didn't have Uber. For example, in Amalfi, we stayed in a area called Preano, which is south of Positano and north of Amalfi. So they have a little bus called the Cita bus, and it's not little; it's a big old bus. And excuse me. So that bus was only $1.80 in euros, for example, and you could take it 30, 40 miles. The challenge is during the summertime, there's a lot of people on it. So we took a lot of we lived like the locals. We just jumped on that little bus and waited.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds cool. We've been here with Cliff Bramble, owner of Noble Fin and Hungry Hospitality, sharing his advice on restaurants and all sorts of business aspects of the restaurant business, which is a difficult business, I'm sure.
It is.
Yeah.
Restaurant business is a tough business, no matter where you go. It's a tough business. You're trying to please everybody and trying to make sure everybody's having a good time, and that's the goal.
Yeah, cool. Cliff, thanks. Appreciate
Thank you very much.
out.
Thanks for having me.
We've been here. Check out my Facebook page, what you're on if you're watching this, or you may be watching this on YouTube or some of the other channels. But the website is livingin.peachtreecorners.com. You'll find links, show notes, more pictures from this. I'll be posting to Facebook as well. And again, I want to thank Gwinnett Medical Center for being a sponsor of this show and some of the podcasts we do, including Capital Sage, which is twice a month. So thank you guys. Appreciate you being with us.